Hi, Angie here from mynexttablet.com. Today with an unboxing of the Lenovo Tab P11, the second generation, together with the Lenovo Precision Pen 2. Alright, let's start the unboxing of the Lenovo Tab P11 Gen 2 that is available in most countries now, starting at around $300 and around 300 euros. It's a smaller brother, or let's say cheaper brother, to the Tab P11 Pro Gen 2 that I already reviewed, and also it's a successor to the P11 Gen 1, which I also reviewed about 2 years ago. Well, now let's unbox the P11 Gen 2. Inside the box we've got the tablet itself. Looks like a typical Lenovo tablet. Then we get the charger, also the standard USB Type-C to Type-A cable. Then an eject tool, in this case to change the micro SD card to insert that one, but you can also get an LTE version and then you use it to insert the SIM card. And then we are getting a pretty thick quick start guide and the warranty stuff. Alright, as usual, since I shot the first part of this video about a day has passed already, I already played the game, ran some benchmarks, watched a bit of Netflix and YouTube, and played around with the Precision Pen 2 here. We will look at that in a second. The Lenovo Tab P11 Gen 2 has an 11.5-inch display. On the top here, we are getting an 8-megapixel front-facing camera that can also be used to unlock the tablet using facial recognition, which is quite good. And we have symmetrical black screen bezels around the tablet. And then let's go to the back, where we're getting the typical Lenovo design. I'm pretty sure that this is metal, but sometimes that's quite hard to tell. Maybe it's also plastic, but probably metal. This is plastic for sure, and that's the standard Lenovo design. About one third this, and then 2/3 of this back plate. Here we're getting a 13-megapixel main camera, which is supported by an LED flash. That's nice to see. On the bottom here, we're getting a connector for an optional keyboard cover, which I ordered already. It costs about $100, but it's not here yet, so I will have that for my final review. On this side, we've got 2 speakers, then a power button. On the top, the volume buttons, 2 microphones, a micro SD card slot. There's no headphone jack. Oh, actually, there is a headphone jack over here. And 2 additional speakers and a USB-C 2.0 port. Those 4 speakers in total have a pretty good sound, so I think this will be a great media entertainment tablet in this price range. And yeah, we also have the pen, but there's no way to attach the pen to the tablet, so you have to carry it separately. This tablet is 7.4 millimeters thin and weighs 520 grams, which is a little bit more than your standard 10-inch tablet, but these are 11-inch, so no wonder. Now, we can check out the display, which I said is 11.5 inches in size, and it has some really good features and also one feature that's only okay. The really good feature is that it's nice and big, and I really like the colors. I already played the game with it, and I think colors look really good. It also has wide viewing angles, it's quite bright, and overall I think it's a really nice screen. Obviously it's fully laminated. All screens these days with Android are usually laminated in this price range. Now if you look super closely, we can see that the text and icons, they look sharp enough, but are not super sharp because we're only getting a resolution of 2000 by 1200 pixels. Now on 11.5 inches, that's fine. But it would be nicer to have a higher pixel density. Everything would look just a little bit sharper. But in this price range, the Full HD resolution is quite common and it's still okay. Not perfect, but okay. What is really nice though is that we're having a 120 Hertz screen here, which means that animations will look very smooth and do look very smooth. And it's also good for the pen. So let's go to the settings so I can show you that. We go to display and then to screen refresh rate. I've got it set to 120 Hertz. You can set it to 60 Hertz to save battery life or have it to adaptive, which means the tablet will decide in which scenarios it makes sense to go to 120 Hz and in which it's better to have it at 60 Hz to save some battery life. So I will leave it to high at the moment. And I really like these 120 Hz because this is something the Samsung Galaxy Tab S6 Lite 2022 edition does not have. And this tablet is a direct competitor to that S6 Lite 2022. Same price range, very similar features, but it has a couple of advantages. So this tablet might actually beat the Galaxy Tab S6 Lite, which I have recommended a lot, but maybe in the future it will be this Lenovo tablet that I will recommend if you are looking for an affordable Android tablet with pen and in this case optional keyboard, which the Samsung does not have. So much about the screen. It also has a wideband level of L1, so you can watch Netflix with HD resolution. That's nice to see. The second nice feature is the stylus, the Lenovo Precision Pen 2. You've got to buy it separately. It costs around $50. Now there are two versions of this pen. There's a new 2023 edition, which I don't have, but which of course should work with this one, and the original, which I have here. I think I bought it, I'm not sure, either with the first P11 or maybe for the Lenovo Yoga Tab 11 or Yoga Tab 13. They all support the Precision Pen 2 and I use it with all those tablets. This one is quite nice because it has a metal body. It feels higher end than a standard Samsung S Pen, but you've got to charge it separately using a USB Type-C cable. Now it has two buttons here on the side and then a pressure sensitive tip, of course. And all the tablets I previously tested with the P11, with the Lenovo Precision Pen 2, were not that amazing for its pen features. And among those is the recent Lenovo Tab M10 Plus Gen 3 and also the Nokia T21 and the Yoga Tab 11 and 13, they all work with this stylus, but it just wasn't as good as an S Pen or as the Lenovo Precision Pen 3 with the P11 Pro Gen 2 or with the P12 Pro. And the Pen 3 worked really well, similar to an S Pen. But I was positively surprised that this pen in combination with this tablet also works quite well. You can see me using Nebo here, and the handwriting, now my handwriting looks quite ugly, but it looks much nicer than usually my handwriting does with the Pen 2 stylus. It looks really well, similar to an S Pen on a 60 Hz Samsung tablet, so I was really positively surprised. This might actually be a good pen, probably due to the digitizer of the display, and might not have that much to do with the pen itself. So that's nice to see. Now Samsung has built in a couple of software features for the pen. There are some shortcuts. You can quickly start a new note, take a screenshot, or use this magnifying glass here. And there are some apps pre-installed like Nebo, that's a note-taking app. Usually you have to pay for it in the Play Store, but here it's free. And we also get My Script Calculator 2, which is a pretty nice math app for pens, for handwriting. You can handwrite your math equation and it will calculate it for you. So the pen feature of the P11 Gen 2 is quite nice. Now let's take a look at the internal hardware. Inside the Lenovo Tab P11 Gen 2 sits the MediaTek Helio G99 chipset, and together with that one we get 4 GB or 6 GB of RAM and up to 128 GB of internal storage. There's also an option with LTE. I have the cheapest version at the moment in Germany with 4 GB of RAM and 128 GB of storage, and I paid around a little bit under 300 euros. There are several options. You can get it as a bundle with a keyboard and with a pen, and that varies by country, and also there are a lot of deals, so look out for those. You can see in my Geekbench 5 comparison here that it is slower than the Lenovo Tab P11 Pro Gen 2, obviously, because that one is more expensive, also much slower than an iPad, but it's about on a similar level as the Samsung Galaxy Tab S6 Lite 2022 edition. The graphics performance is even a little bit better, although that will be quite hard to see in real life, maybe a little bit. I already played PUBG Mobile. You can see me playing it here. I was able to set the graphics to HD, but not higher. HDR and Ultra HD settings are not supported. But with HD settings, it runs very smoothly. And I think it looks quite nice, especially colors look quite nice here. But obviously, since it's only the HD setting, if you look closely, that's a little bit pixelated. So you won't be able to play games with the highest graphics settings on this tablet, but that's quite normal in this price range. Now let's get to the software, and here the P11 Gen 2 is also quite interesting. Usually we get standard Android, vanilla Android with Lenovo tablets, and that's also the case here. We've got many apps from Google pre-installed, like this entertainment space. There's a kids mode, a lot of Google apps, and yeah, that's quite common, and those for the pen that I mentioned already. But what's special here is that it's not only Android 12, but it's Android 12L. That means, similar as on the Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 for instance, we're getting this taskbar here at the bottom, which is really quite nice to see. And those Android buttons go to the side here, but of course you can also navigate it using gestures if you want. So let's go to the settings, and then we can confirm that it's Android 12. There we go. So standard, not standard Android 12, it's Android 12L, which is really nice to see on an 11.5-inch tablet. It also has some settings for the pen, where you can configure it a little bit, and we've got advanced features here. And here we can turn on the productivity mode, which will be very useful when using it with the keyboard, like the official keyboard cover that costs around $100. And then this is basically a desktop mode, similar to Samsung DeX. So we've got a taskbar here at the bottom. It all gets a little bit smaller, so you can navigate it with a mouse. You don't have to use your fingers. And then we've got the notifications and the shortcuts here, and all the apps over here. So that's a quick look at the productivity mode. Let's turn it off in the settings again. And you can usually configure it that it gets turned on automatically once you connect the keyboard. So that's really nice. What's also nice is that Lenovo seems to be wanting to update it until Android 14. So it will get Android 13 and Android 14 in the future, and probably a couple of years of security updates. Considering this is a Lenovo tablet, that's pretty good, because in the past often they only released one major update. Now we're getting at least two and a couple of years of security updates. So that's quite nice to see regarding the software. My first impressions of the Lenovo Tab P11 Gen 2 are really good, and to me it's quite an exciting tablet, because I have been recommending the Samsung Galaxy Tab S6 Lite for such a long time, and now I might not. Maybe the P11 Gen 2 will replace Samsung for a tablet in this price range if you're looking for something nice with a stylus and a keyboard cover, which Samsung does not offer, at least not a good one for the S6 Lite, and at an affordable price. That's quite nice to see. But obviously, this is only an unboxing video and first impression, not a final review. To see the final review, you've got to subscribe to this channel. But like I said, we get quite a lot here, especially compared to the S6 Lite. I like that we get 120 Hz, a bit bigger display with 11.5 inches, the optional keyboard cover, which hopefully is good, but I don't know yet. But the one for the S6 Lite 2022 edition is not so good. So Lenovo will probably have an advantage here, since the Samsung one does not have a proper connector for it. It's just a Bluetooth keyboard. So really not ideal. And yeah, quite some advantages. The pen has to be bought separately. That's something to consider with Samsung, where the S Pen is included, of course. But yeah, I'm excited for my comparison and my review of this tablet. It will be very interesting. I just reviewed the Honor Pad X8, not reviewed, I unboxed the Honor Pad X8, and it's quite a boring tablet. And compared to that one, I think the P11 Gen 2 here is quite exciting.